Nyaya teaches us how to think properly, how to argue properly, and how to find fault if they're in the opponent, so that we can counter. Nyaya teaches that. It teaches how to reason properly, to see the flaws first in our own argument. Before I speak to you, I should know, whatever I'm saying, it should be as flawless as possible. I should anticipate questions from the audience. Okay, I should anticipate questions and objections, and I should be ready for them. And even for sometimes a new objection also, I should be ready for that. Vaisheshika and Nyaya are taught together because they are allied philosophies. Vaisheshika also teaches us how to reason, but this is more like science, more like physics and chemistry. Vaisheshika is more like physics and chemistry. Nyaya is more like logic, teaches us how to reason, right? Sankhya and yoga are taught together, usually in universities. Sankhya is the theory part, yoga is the practical part. Then Uttar Mimamsa Vedanta, this is about knowing this self, how to become free of our miseries. This teaches that. And Karma Kanda teaches us how to get things from the world. All these yagyas and so many things. You want a good job, you want a good partner, you want children, you want success, you want money, so many things. So Purva Mimamsa deals with that. Uttar Mimamsa says even if you have all the wealth in the world, still it will not necessarily make you happy. Misery will be there inside. For example, you may have everything, nice partner, nice children, even fame, everything. But what about disease? What about old age? What about death? All the money in the world can't give us 1 second more. So that fear of death is always there. So Vedanta helps us. It shows us that these fears are baseless, they say. So they teach us how to deal with that. Sankhya and Yoga and Vaisheshika. Got it? And then in the opposite camp are Charvaka, the materialists. And Jainism, Buddhism, these are. So they are in the opposite camp, but it doesn't mean they're friends. They also are opposed to, each other. But why they are put here? Because largely they don't accept Vedas, the supremacy of the Vedas. They don't accept that. So that's the reason they have been put in this other camp. So these are the six plus three major philosophies of India. You can add new recent philosophies like Sikhism, about 400 years old, and there are many others, but these are the main traditionally. And why we don't understand properly say you listen to Upanishads or something, they sound good, but we don't understand because to understand them, we should have knowledge of these. Without Sankhya, you can't understand yoga, right? It's not possible to understand that. And without these two, very difficult to understand Vedanta. Straight away go into Vedanta, it'll be difficult. So I would suggest always study Sankhya first, then study Vedanta. Then this Karma Kanda is there. So Mimamsa Darshan, this also teaches how to arrive at meaning. What's written in the Vedas, how to, because same word may have so many meanings. So how to arrive at the right meaning. That Mimamsa shows us that. Okay. And of course, we should know a little bit about these also because they make attacks. They say there's no Atma. They may say so many things. So you should know how to defend yourself if you're in this side. Oh, you should know the opposition well. So these are the six philosophies, and don't be overwhelmed. They're not so difficult. You learn one by one, you will easily grasp the others. Okay, so this is what. So why these are classed in one group? This answer is they say all these, they may have internal differences, but they all agree that everything is Atma. Everything in this universe, material or non-material, is Atma. Then Nothingness is impossible. Nothingness is impossible. There will never be a time when there is nothing in the universe. Okay, we can discuss later if you wish in this webinar. And the effect is always present in the cause. The effect, however different it may look, it was originally there in the cause. These are the three fundamental axioms. Everything is Atma, nothing is impossible, and nothing can be either created nor destroyed. Nothing in this universe can be created or destroyed. Only thing is it can change its form. So one definition of Nyaya is Pramaner Artha Parikshanam Nyaya. To arrive at the meaning of something, to nature of something, but how? By thorough examination, by logical examination. So that's called Nyaya. Otherwise, it will become dogma. So whatever is said in the Vedas, you should not accept blindly. You should question. Ideally, you should learn from a guru, because then you can question. Then you ask questions. The guru should answer your question. And if the guru is unwilling to answer questions, then you should change your guru. Okay. So here it's not that one-sided, it has to be both sided. And just one additional thing, if you want to enroll, register for this course, knowledge of Sanskrit is not essential. If you know some Sanskrit, then it's okay, but it's not a must. So even without knowledge of Sanskrit, you can. But however, I would urge you to later on take up a course in Sanskrit, beginner's Sanskrit. Okay. Why should we study Nyaya? That's the question. So there's a famous line, Kanadam Paniniyam cha Sarvashastropakarat. Kanadam, you can say this the the system of Kanada. Kanada was a rishi who wrote the Nyaya, the Vaisheshik system. So because it's logical, so he says logic, Panini wrote the grammar. So the Nyaya of Kanada Rishi and the grammar of Panini, right? Cha, Sarv Shastropakara. They are useful in every subject. Without them, you cannot progress. Be it mathematics, be it physics, be it music, be it anything, history, aesthetics, whatever, you need both. You need grammar and you need a sound knowledge of logic. Both are required. So why? Because Pradeepaha Sarva Vidyanam. Logic is like a lamp for Sarva Vidya. That means every branch of knowledge. It's a lamp. With this, you can light up every branch of knowledge. Right? Upayaha Sarva Karmanam. It's the solution to whatever you want to do in life. Ashraya Sarva Dharmanam. It's the basis for all righteousness. So this is called Anvikshiki. It's also called Anvikshiki. Nyaya is also called Anvikshik means to examine properly. That's called Anvikshik. So Nyaya Sutra, roughly, it has 5 chapters. Okay, it has 5 chapters and 528 sutras. Sutras are usually one-liners, 2 or 3 words, very brief statements. So that's what. So we'll study only the first chapters because it's too long. The time given to us, we can do only of the first chapter, which has 2 parts. So in the part A of Nyaya, we'll do the first Ahnika, it's called Ahnik sub-chapter. And in part B, we'll do the next one. And wherever possible, we'll take Vatsyayana's help. His commentary, he wrote a commentary on the Nyaya Sutras. Sutras are extremely difficult to understand, by on their own. You need the help of some commentator. So That's how we get that. So we gain. So this is to gain right knowledge. Most of the Vedic darshanas, they say we are miserable because of false knowledge, because we don't see things properly. So first of all, how do we get knowledge? Through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, and mind. Right? These are the things, but that's not the only way. There are others. But just briefly, let me tell you. See, this is a flower, okay? And here you are. How do you know? How do you know that's a flower and the color of the flower? How would you know? What's See? We have five, right? Eyes, nose, tongue, skin, ears. Five. But to know the color and shape, the pramana is eye. Is our eyes, right? So this is pramana. Instrument. They are the instruments of our knowledge. To know shape and color, eyes are pramana. But to know smell, eyes are not pramana, nose is pramana. To know taste, tongue is pramana, and so on. So pramana here just means instrument of knowledge, right? Is sense organs. And whatever you want to know is called prameya. So if there is a flower here, this will be prameya. If there is a book here, the book would be prameya, right? Or a person, whatever. And the knowledge that this is a flower, that's called prama or jnana. These are just slightly, I'm telling you how the teaching method. You will be given all the notes like this in a PDF form, and while teaching, I'll be teaching through original sutras as well as charts and diagrams wherever required. So now the thing is, for knowledge, what is required? You need the sense organ. Let's take only eye for example. So there must be a thing for it to know, right? There has to be a thing for it to know. Only then there will be knowledge. Otherwise, there won't be knowledge. Now, let's say your eye is also perfect, and your eye should be proper. It should not be defective. So let's say eye is perfect. This thing is also perfect, but still you may not know it. Why? You may respond in the chat if you wish. Why you won't know? Although a thing is there, आप हिंदी में या इंग्लिश में बोलेंगे, हाँ जी, जैसे आप कहेंगे, पर बाकियों को भी आनी चाहिए हिंदी. Okay. Why it won't happen? Has anybody responded?
No, not yet.
Okay, usually I like it to be interactive.
Yeah, what I'll do, Kuldeep ji, is if you want, I can. If you want to complete your presentation, you can do that. Or if you want to have interaction while the presentation is
I would prefer that.
okay, so,
Let it be interactive.
so all of the participants who would want to, we have only 26 participants as of now. I can promote them to the panelists so that they can interact with you. So all of you who would want to get promoted to the panelists to be able to discuss with Dr. Dhiman, please raise your hands. I will do that for you.
If you can promote all of them, promote all
I
of them.
can promote all of them, shall I?
Do that. I don't think they'll mind.
Okay, sure, I'll do that.
Nobody minds promotions. So
that's a good one.
the only thing is the work with promotion we don't like, but the responsibility that comes with promotion we don't
I've
like.
started promoting. People will be able to.
You are very generous. You are very. But why? Yeah, now I'm seeing them because I like to see people. Otherwise, I feel I'm speaking to a wall.
Yes,
so now, friends, you may unmute yourself and interact wherever necessary. Now, tell me, your eyes are okay. The flower is also there, but still you may not see the flower. Why?
Namaste, Kuldeep ji.
Oh, namaste. Chandrakant ji is here. Very nice. He's studying Yoga Sutra with me. So tell me why you won't see the flower. The eyes are also open. They are not defective. The flower is also there. Why you won't see it? Chandrakant, you may say, if others are not
No, I'll
responding.
give the chance to others.
Okay. Well, it's simple. Now you're in class. I'm speaking. You're listening, but still you may not hear me. You know why? Because if your mind is thinking about maybe Ram Mandir Yatra or
Abhishek ji
some
says that perhaps logic is the decisive factor
or what decisive
for
factor.
the question.
No, what I'm saying is, even if your eyes are okay, thing is also there, you will still not see it if the mind is somewhere else, right? So mind is it's the one who is knower. Pramata is the knower. There has to be whoever is know we call the knower in us. If that's absent, you may have seen sometimes you keep speaking to somebody and they don't even respond because the mind is preoccupied elsewhere. So all these three are required. Now,
Shenoy ji is saying the mind is not engaged.
mind is not engaged where in this class, in this webinar.
No, I mean
We,
the question that you've asked.
yeah, correct. That's what it is. It's somewhere else, not engaged here, somewhere else. You can miss an explosion. If your mind is somewhere else, if there might be a big explosion, you won't hear it, right? Something may be right in front of you, you won't. Beautifully depicted by Kalidasa in Shakuntala. You know this story? Shakuntala falls in love with Dushyanta. He goes away, and then she's thinking about him. And the great Rishi Durvasa comes, and she misses. Because she's so lost in thoughts, he doesn't even see him, and he gets very upset. All right. So Gautama, he says why we should study Nyaya. Gautama says because we are miserable. We should study Nyaya, and everybody wants happiness, and not fleeting happiness. Everybody wants total happiness, and that's moksha. Fleeting happiness, all of us get here and there. So Nyaya also is for moksha. Sankhya darshan also is for moksha. Yoga darshan also is for moksha, right? Similar, and of course, Vedanta also is for moksha. So all these darshanas are for moksha. Vaisheshik darshana also is for moksha. Ultimate goal is only moksha, right? Now, only thing is they have a different way of answering, tackling the problem. So, and all of them, the Astic darshanas, the Vedic darshanas, they believe our misery, we are not in moksha because of false knowledge, avidya, right? It's because of avidya we have these problems. So you should get right knowledge, right? You're not seeing things properly. So Gautama, oh, I forgot to tell you, the Rishi is Gautam, who is credited with Nyaya Sutras. He didn't start Nyaya, but he wrote a book which is still available. So he said you should know all the 16 padarthas properly, 16 padarthas of Nyaya. Sankhya says you should know 25 tattvas. Vedanta says you should know Atma and Anatma difference and where you stand. Like that. So he also says, so one is Pramana. Pramana is the instrument of knowledge. This one, Prameya, what you want to know. You should know that also. Sanshaya, doubt. You should know the nature of doubt. Most of the philosophy arguments are only because of doubt. Thing about which you are clear, you will never argue. Even if you're falsely clear about it, even if your certainty is false, but still at least you're certain. It's only people who are doubtful, they ask questions and they also learn. Arjuna learned because he was in doubt, sanshaya. That's why in the end he says, now my sanshaya is over, now I can fight. So sanshaya we should know. Then prayojan is there. This transit, all these things are there. And in the end he says, nishreyas adhigamaha. All these, if you master these will lead to nishreyas. Nishreyas means moksha. Shreyas means the highest. Nishreyas means, it cannot be bettered. So that means it's the highest, it's the ultimate. happiness. How many prameyas are there? See, first is pramana, next is prameya. How many things are to be known through this? So, although there are millions of things in the universe, Gautama says these 12 are necessary for us if you want moksha. We should know what? Atma. Most of us have heard this word, but can you define it? No, we have some idea, Atma. We don't know. Then Sharira, body. Then Indriya, sense organs. Artha, objects known by the sense organs. Buddhi, which know what intellect is. Manaha, mind. Pravritti, what makes us do something, motivates us. Dosha, likes and dislikes. All our life, we either like something or dislike something, and we keep moving between them. That makes us unhappy. Pretya bhava, because of our karmas, we are born again. Phala, results of our actions. Dukkha, misery. What's misery? Then apavarga is moksha. Apavarga. So if you know all these, that's to get moksha. First of all, I should know what moksha is. Many of us think just too much of happiness is moksha. Too much of happiness is not moksha. That's also bondage. Moksha is something else. Now, the first item here is Atma. I want to show you how Nyaya Darshan can help you, whether it works or not. So, let's say Atma. What does it mean by Atma? And it has to give you characteristics of Atma. So, what does it say, Atma? What it should have? It should have 6 characteristics: Ichha, desire; Dvesha, likes and dislikes; Prayatna, whoever has Atma should make some effort to fulfill desires. Then it should feel happiness, then misery, and it should have knowledge. Right? These are the qualities of properties of Atma. Now let's see it works or not. Now this is interactive. You please respond. These days, the computers are so advanced. Then you have these AI programs, they're making them more advanced, and chat GPT and so many things. Computers calculate better than us, right? They remember spellings better than us. They check grammar better than us. They do so many things which most humans can't do, and they do it within fraction of a second. Now, this gives idea to many people. So, there's a debate: are computers conscious or not? How many of you think they are conscious? You may raise hands or you may speak up. Why is everybody so quiet? I prefer naughty children. I prefer naughty children in class to ask uncomfortable questions. Yes, sir. Chandrakant.
Yeah, Kuditi, unless there is a living being with Atma, this is a machine. Machine is inanimate object. So it can do unless until the Atma, the living being, gives instructions, who designs it, who programs it, then only it can be functional.
Okay, but then I can counter that. I can say, sir, you are also like a machine to me. I don't know. Maybe you're a good robot, and somebody else has programmed you to respond like this. So just because it's man-made, it doesn't.
Yeah, we are machines, but the living machine, this
Yeah,
machine
so
is not
this.
living.
How do you know how do you know it's not living?
I'm sorry?
How do you know it's not living? How can you prove it?
Because it has no consciousness on its own, it
How
cannot
do you
do.
know? That's what we want to know. If you think it's not conscious, just by saying it's not conscious is not enough. That's why we're studying logic, Nyaya. You
The
should give
living symptoms,
reasons.
the living symptoms has.
I agree, but what are
Okay.
those living symptoms? You have to tell me what are those living symptoms.
The living symptom means one who can have feelings, being able to think.
Yeah, these days computers have feelings. Computers have feelings. they feel sad. Oh, you're going, you're leaving. Something they can. Not just
have-
computers. There are these robots
I
also.
think
Robots come and
many
help you. They come and they'll
they
make something for you. They'll do so. They'll ask you, how are you? Alexa will ask you when you come home, how was your day? What can I do for you? You know, Alexa is more faithful than any friend you can imagine. So tell me. Okay, I admit I'm a machine. All right. I admit I'm a machine made to look exactly like a human. You can't differentiate. Now you tell me whether I have Atma or not. Others are not responding. What's the problem?
There are two questions from Suresh ji in the chat. Suresh ji, would
Why
you
aren't
want
they?
to
Why aren't they
unmute
speaking?
yourself?
Why aren't they speaking? Why won't they?
You have to
Yeah,
ask them.
you can save me the trouble of reading all this. I think they are computers. Looks like these people are maybe computers. Okay, so all right. What is the question? Could you read it out for me, please?
Yes. Where does
Mm.
one draw a line between Icha and greed, between like, love, and lust, etc.? Oh, Suresh ji does not have access to mic. That is why he's not speaking.
consciousness.
See, all those are, that's a different thing. Right now, we just want to know, using logic, whether we can determine a computer a good robot, which looks like a human. Should we ask them to be conscious because they show feelings, they calculate better than us, they seem to have more intelligence, they can play chess, they can play cards with you, so many things, and they defeat us most of the time. So why shouldn't we call them conscious? Okay, if nobody is responding.
The six things that you listed,
Yeah.
none of this thing can computer can design computer can
Correct.
respond by that.
So that's the reason. So they define anything having Atma should have these 6 characteristics. It should have desires, likes and dislikes, effort. It should make effort on its own to fulfill those desires. It should feel happy and misery, and it should have knowledge. Now the thing is, knowledge, okay, at least information computers have. But does a computer have any desire? Does it have any like or dislike? Suppose now I'm using this computer to speak to you, and my computer says, no, please, I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed. Does it have that kind of desire?
No.
No. Will it make effort on its own? Will it answer your question for my, on my behalf? No. If this webinar goes well, will it feel very happy? if if it doesn't go well, will it be miserable? No. So according to Gautama, a thing that doesn't have these properties, that thing doesn't have that. See how it works, how this, see earlier also you mentioned those things, but now this is more structured answer. This is a more formal answer. If you study Nyaya, you will be able to defend yourself more. Like for example, we all have a little bit of fighting spirit in us. So somebody attacks us, we do fight back. But if we have learned martial arts properly, how to defend, then we are at a better chance of saving ourselves. Okay.
One more question, Kuldeep ji. Are there any filters in this philosophy to differentiate between fake narratives and truth? In today's world, this is the major problem caused by a flood of fake narratives.
So that's why you should have logic properly. Most of the time, the problem with most of us is because we lack expertise in logic, we are unable to counter these fake narratives. Right? We are unable to find fault in their narrative. So that's where logic will help us. It's a simple thing like this debate whether many people, many very intelligent people think that robots should be called conscious. Right? Okay. Now, there's something called Western, Western logic. Probably you have studied. This is what is taught every time. The father is Aristotle. So how it goes? It has three-step syllogisms. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. Right? So this is a three-step syllogism. So all men are mortal, and if Socrates is a man, then naturally it follows that Socrates is mortal. Clear? Okay. Now there's a question begging here. How do you know all men are mortal? How do you know? Have you seen every human being, present, past, and future? What do you say? So this itself begs a question, because the conclusion results from this, that all men are mortal. So naturally, if Socrates is a man, then Socrates also will be mortal. So the reply given by Aristotle is, we are not interested in the content of the argument. We are only interested in the form. It should be, whether it's true or false, we are not interested in true or false. We are only interested whether it's valid or not. So validity, yes, this argument is valid. Correct? Because if all men are mortal, then obviously if Socrates is a man, then he must be mortal. Got it? So this valid, but is it true? Is it a sound argument? By this logic, let's come to the other one. All men are immortal. I have changed it here. Opposite. All men are immortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is immortal. Now, do you agree with this? Do you agree with this?
Kundipji, so
Yes.
when something is given, so you accept it because that says that it's given. On that basis, you make anumana, But if there's whatever is given itself is questionable, then that anumana fails.
Yeah. So does it work or not? This all men are immortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is immortal.
Yeah, this is a good example. The given is not right.
How do you know, sir? How is this right? All men are mortal. What's the guarantee all men are mortal? Maybe somebody in this class is immortal.
Well, if I may say, I'm just typing it out. I think all that we speak and write, how we communicate with our community is immortal, but our persona is immortal, but not our physical presence. Our physical presence is certainly immortal.
Right now, we are talking about only the physical body. Aristotle is not talking about Atma or something. He's only talking about the physical body. Okay, forget that. Look at this argument. Tell me, all trout are mammals. Trout is a fish.
Yeah.
All trout are mammals. All mammals have wings. Therefore, all trout have wings. Is it correct?
No.
Not correct. No?
No.
Okay. All right. Aristotle would say it is correct. Because he says, I'm not interested in truth or falsity of the argument, only the form. If all trouts are mammals and if all mammals have wings, then all trouts have wings. So according to Aristotle, according to Western logic, this is a correct argument. Correct in the sense, valid argument. It's not a sound argument because this is not the case, but it's a valid argument. Okay, now why I'm getting into this, because Indian logic has 5 steps. They have 3 steps. Indian logic has 5 steps. So why are the 2 extra steps there? A 5-step syllogism of Nyaya. Okay. So there is a fire on the mountain. You go, say, to a mountain somewhere in Switzerland or somewhere, or in India, and you say to a friend, there's a fire on the mountain. Let's say it's a small child who doesn't know the connection. And this is a pratigya. This is your thesis. Then the child asks, how do you know? Correct? How do you know? Child asks, How do you know? And you say, because there is a smoke on the mountain. There is smoke on the mountain. So child says, so what? If there is smoke, but I can't see the fire, how are you certain there is a fire? Then it says, wherever there is smoke, there is fire, right? You have to give an udharan also, example, as in the kitchen, just like in the kitchen, all right? Then he says, now re-examine again. There is a smoke on the mountain. It's called upanaya, re-examination. Naya means to see again. Then conclude, yes, therefore there is a fire on the mountain. Now, these two steps will help us determine whether a thing like this is valid argument or not. You are saying all trout are mammals. Okay, all right, agreed. All mammals have wings. And I'll tell you, give me one example of it. Can you give?
No.
No? Can you give any
Humans,
example? What? What
I
is
said
it?
human beings don't have wings.
So, and they are saying all mammals have wings. No, even one mammal you show me. Which mammal has wings? Bats maybe. Bats are mammals? Yeah, they are. But
Yeah.
all mammals don't have wings, right? So they say your argument is right now here itself it is invalid. It's proved to be false. So that's why 5-step syllogism is so important. And the ultimate goal of Nyaya is by knowing properly all the 16 padarthas, we get moksha. We can get moksha. Okay, now this is my main presentation. I finished. Now you may, if you have any question, you may ask.
Yes, we have about 10-15 minutes, and whoever wants to ask questions, please
Your
do. The Q&A box.
They didn't accept your promotion, I think. Most of them.
Yeah, many people have declined. So, and now if anyone wants to ask questions, you can please go ahead. Kuldeep ji can answer all your academic questions. I can address all questions pertaining to registrations and admissions.
I'll ask a question. I don't know who else is online. I see that Somji is on the call also. My question has to do with, again, today's world is fraught with a flood of information that is unfiltered. Social media has made a huge difference, in terms of how people get access to information, and everybody is struggling with knowing how to filter that information. And my question is, does this logic that we have been talking about and the other different forms of interpretation that you mentioned early on, how valid is it in today's world with the information that everyone is soaking in?
Logic gives you tools to examine things, to separate good argument from a bad argument. It gives you the tool. It teaches you how to use that tool. Now, logic cannot control all this flow of bombardment of information. Nobody can control. But now it's there. And if you are bombarded with it, you don't know which way to go. So then, if you know logic properly, if you know the other darshanas properly, you will be able to defend your position properly. Suppose you hold a position, you believe in something, and everyone else is saying this doesn't happen, this is not the case, then you can counter them if you have good grounding in knowledge, in logic. That's the only way to do it. There's see, Shankaracharya could do that. There was a time when Buddhism had almost, it had become all pervasive, because these Hindu philosophers were doing nothing. They were not answering at all. Shankaracharya showed us the way. Through logic, he defeated them. So you also, if you think there is a narrative which is not right, so fight with logic. I remember a movie called, I think it was Quo Vadis. In that, they showed, the Romans are there, and then Jesus Christ is becoming very popular, and many people are turning to Christianity with his new ideas. And now these kings are worried what to do about it. So then he asks the ministers. The ministers say, see, if it is a person, we can fight with the person. But this, Jesus Christ, is an idea. What do we do with an idea? How do we fight an idea? Then one of the other minister gives a good answer. He says, then you fight an idea with another idea. So you counter, if they have come with some false narrative, then you counter them with your proper narrative. And for that, your logic has to be sound. These days, earlier there used to be adhikaris. You couldn't get any knowledge anywhere. You had to, be adhikari means you had to be a deserving student. You had to prove yourself that you deserve this knowledge, any kind of knowledge. In olden times, the gurus used to make you, they used to test you thoroughly. They used to make you wait for sometimes even years before they give you knowledge. Now things have changed, and we have to change with times. We have to change our strategy with times. We can't expect that age now. So you use, first of all, we should study our Shastras properly. Most of the time we have, those guys have studied Shastras better than us, our Shastras better than us. They have devote all their life studying our Shastras, mainly to find fault in Shastras. And we don't even have Shastra at home. Most of us, how many of us have any book at home, any of our Shastras? Hardly anything. So, and we don't even open that book, even if there is. So anybody can come and attack. Anybody will come and say, "Oh, Krishna, who was he? He was just, he was having fun. He was a politician. He was." This is so many things. We have no answer because we ourselves haven't studied these things properly. We close our eyes to what's uncomfortable in our Shastras, what we think is uncomfortable, and we didn't know that they made us feel uncomfortable about it. So it's high time, if you feel bad about false narrative, then you build your own narrative. But before building your own narrative, then you have to work very hard, study this properly. Those fellows have done great work to create that false narrative. They have bothered to study the text, and maybe they are misinterpreting. But to misinterpret, first you should know what to misinterpret. Of course, some of them are there. They studied the Shastras to attack them, but then they fell for the Shastras and they fell in love with the Shastras because so that also happened. And so Sureshji, I hope I have answered yours.
No, it's a good answer. The big variable between what might have happened 2000 years ago versus today is that socio-economic circumstances and perspectives tend to shape your narrative. And those socio-economic realities that we see, we can see it in today's world. We see a deep divide in United States between what's going on in the two major parties. That divide exists even in religion, where so there is a deep divide because a lot of it is shaped by the access to information and the socio-economic circumstances of the people that are looking at the world. So the
most of the
question
information is actually disinformation.
well, it could be, and that therein lies the whole challenge of filtering the information, so we know what is disinformation and what is not. That is the biggest challenge of artificial intelligence as well. But the day we are able to know how to filter that, how to validate and authenticate information, then artificial intelligence can become very dangerous because it will change perspectives. So that's why the role that technology plays is very important. to
Yes.
consider. So
So we should use tech. See if they can use technology to create a false narrative. Why can't we use the same technology to counter that
sure.
Yeah, we should do that. But most of us don't do that. We just keep forwarding messages here and there. How great our culture is, and ours is the best. When we knew this, the whole world was in caves and all that. So that's just ego, ahankara. That no doubt it may be true. We are great, but what are we now? We don't know anything. But of course, now there's a great resurgence. People are studying the Shastras, the younger generation also. And perhaps people from your generation, many are there who are in their 40s and 50s. They say, we didn't study, but we want our children to learn this because they are losing values. What is happening is the values are getting lost. And because of that, see, earlier there was a strong sense of values. You always respected your elders. Always. Elders could be wrong, no doubt, but that respect, you could disagree with them, but that respect was always there for them. And now that thing, we ourselves have lost that respect. If if a professor comes to class and he smokes and he cracks dirty jokes and everything, so and has later on has drinks with students, so what respect that professor will have? Dignity, as we ourselves made that mistake. To prove that we are very broad-minded, we tell children, hey children, whatever you want to do it in front of us. Don't do it behind my back. So if you feel like smoking, smoke with me. I'll get a cigarette for you. Want to drink? So this kind of philosophy. So that's happening. Earlier there was always, it's kind of a distance between this one. Boss should be like a boss, and the others who are working, there is that hierarchy should be there. Ultimately, we are all same, but in society, you have to have a certain dignity, how to behave, whatever station we are in. So when a boy is young, you can do anything, girls and boys, but when they grow up, when you become a parent, you can't behave like a teenager or a 20-year-old. You can't do that. Now you have responsibility, so you have to behave because youngsters will follow us. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna. See, if you don't do your duty, others will not do their duty because other people follow what the people who are respected in society, what they do. Arjuna was a noble man, right? He says, if you neglect your duty, then even others will neglect you. And Krishna says, see, I have nothing to gain in this world. I am the Lord of all the three worlds, but still I work. Why? I have nothing to achieve, but still I work because if I stop working, others will also start working. So karma is a paramount. Each one of us, we have to do our karma. And so we have to set an example. We have to lead by example. So now these many young parents, they're saying, okay, we didn't study, but we want our children to study. So they are not necessarily philosophy. They are teaching them dance, music, Sanskrit language, and so many things. So there's a great demand now. And however, if you want to tackle the false narrative, then you have to first study our own text, our own culture properly. Then we can do that. Many people I've seen, I saw debates on television on Sanskrit. Sanskrit is a very rich language, and all these 3 or 4 people speaking, not one of them spoke a word of Sanskrit in that whole thing. It is all English. They studied abroad. Their children are all in Princeton and in Oxford and Cambridge, and they are giving us lectures how children should. First, you teach your children Sanskrit before you tell us to learn it. So this goes on. How great our culture is. Just by wearing a kurta, you don't become Sanatani or something. So that's what they do. And the books they write, they also write the books in only in English. And they don't study the Shastra at all. They have not studied Sanskrit. So all the knowledge is second-hand knowledge. What some scholars said, they'll keep repeating the same thing here. I can tell you, all of you, you read, say, for example, the Gita in a translation, even in Indian languages, translation, and you read the original. You'll see what difference it makes in your understanding that. And that's also the spirit of research, even in West. If you want to study, say, Freud, they'll tell you first learn enough German. Then you study his works in the original language, not in the translated language. Although translations of Freud are very good, but still, the same thing. We should first study the Sanskrit language. That's why it says Kanadam Paniniyam cha. So first learn the language and then logic along with it. Then you'll see the great difference in, and study these under somebody who knows. Self-study here doesn't help much. It leads to a lot of wrong conclusions. So we have to study familiar. See, unfortunately, for the last 200 years or maybe 300 or 400 years, we stopped answering the people who attacked us. They kept writing books against us. So we stopped. Earlier, there was a very rich tradition of answering the opposition. Whenever it's natural, they will attack. So we should be able to defend ourselves. So that we stopped doing that. And so anybody could come and say anything and go away. And the thing is, we lost our faith ourselves because we hadn't studied. That's why logic is important. Otherwise, anybody will shake your faith in your own culture. Anybody will just poke a pin and gone. So it's important. So logic, you can begin with logic. It's extremely important. And I assure you, after you learn, we'll be only teaching the elementary part of it because only one chapter we'll be doing. After that, you'll see a great difference in your understanding of the Gita, the Upanishads, and other things. There'll be great difference. And if somebody asks you, let's say a small child asks you, why is Krishna asking Arjuna to fight? Correct? So we should give some good answer, not just, we should not just try to shut up the child. And we should give a nice logical answer. Why? Because on one side, because they'll say, no, there are some people some saints who say non-violence is ahimsa paramo dharma. Then why is Krishna asking Arjuna to fight? Why is Krishna dancing with the gopis? All these questions we can answer if we have studied the text properly and if we have proper logic. Okay.
We have any
else?
more questions? Yeah, because
Okay, may I ask?
Yes, sir.
Pragyaji, I have a question for Pragyaji.
Yes,
A question for Pragyaji.
Yeah.
What's it?
Pragyaji, as you know, I'm enrolled in the graduate level course.
Yeah.
I was wondering if this is a great course. And I know Kuldeep Ji is a wonderful, wonderful speaker,
I've been his student.
Teacher. I mean, I'm taking his course, Yoga Sutra, is learning so much, incredible, So I would love, but unless it is offered for a credit, is this a credit level course?
No. This is a program course that's part of our certificate program, not the graduate program. Graduate program has Kuldeep Ji's Sankhya, which you're doing right now.
Okay, all right, okay, thank
But
you.
we may, because we know his students kind of just love what he teaches, and they would want to see it, see the same courses in the graduate level also.
This is
that in-depth
it sounds like a great course. I would love to.
I know. He's an amazing teacher, not because Kuldeep is here. I've been his student too. And
Yeah.
a person with a clean, someone like me who had absolutely no knowledge about all this. It was
I've
great
been learning
learning
so
from him.
much.
Yeah.
He's teaching the subject along with even he teaches Sanskrit also. That is the great things
Yes.
that he's doing, you know.
That's to encourage you to take up Sanskrit.
So
See,
when
another
you-
thing that what I'll just tell you a little bit more about the course. See, I can easily give you lectures. I could give you 11 lectures on Nyaya and finish it. But I don't believe in that. I believe in taking you to the original text. So these sutras from the Nyaya Sutra. So how we go about it? Now this is Sutra number 4. Okay, first chapter, first Ahanik, fourth Sutra, for example. So you have it in Devanagari first, the original sutra. I also give it to you in Roman, in case sometimes some people can't read Devanagari. So it's given in this, and in the third line, I also break up the sandhis. See, these are such long words. Many people find difficult to understand. So I break them up to make it easy for you to understand. And every word meaning is given for everything. See, Indriya, Artha, Sannikarsh, Utpannam. So what is Indriya? What's the meaning of Artha? What's the meaning of Sannikarsh? What's the meaning of Utpanna? Jnanam. Like that, every word will be given, and then the translation of that will be given, right? And additional notes, if there are, that will be given. Wherever required, there will be a diagram and other whatever extra thing. All these will be shared with you, these PDFs, and a lot of original text also I shall share with you, and the references will be there. You can make free use of them. You can make prints. My notes, these are free of cost. You can make prints or whatever you like to do, and you don't actually need to buy another book, because I'm teaching you from the original book itself. So it's not necessary, unless you want to buy a book on Nyaya and study. Okay, I have no problem with that. But most people don't have time these days. So I only expect you to, suppose I do 2 sutras in one class. By next class, I expect you to at least go through them and be thorough with them. And ideally, I also make you pronounce these so that you get the pronunciation right. And Sanskrit is there so that you get the feel of having studied the. Chandrakant ji is studying Yoga Sutram, right? Earlier also he may have studied Yoga Sutram, in the sense yoga from this one. But when you studied from the sutra, do you feel any difference, Chandrakant ji, after studying the original text? You are studying. Is there any difference between just listening to a lecture on yoga and learning by sutra? You can be honest.
Pragya, a
Yes.
related question I asked you before.
Uh-huh.
See, these are the 6 schools of Indian Hindu philosophy. So it's a very, very important course, So whether or not to make it credit or graduate level, is this the administrative reason or the teacher decides that?
No, we will, if there is a demand from the students that they would want to see, say like Sankhya was a very popular in-demand course from Kuldeep ji. All the students and even the students doing our masters and the DHS really wanted to see this course in the list. So that is how, the academic committee worked with Kuldeep ji. That course is there. Similarly, we do see a good, good number of students asking for this. So it will basically be Kalyanji will discuss this with Kuldeep ji, and there's a great possibility that we'll have this course up for me, if not next semester, the semester after that.
Yeah, because because I'm in the
You
Hindu
can write to
studies.
us also, Chandrakantji.
The 6 schools of philosophy is so vital,
Yep.
I hope that it would be offered eventually in a graduate level course,
Yes.
And
Yeah, see, even this Nyaya course was a result of students who did Sankhya with me and Vedant Sara with me. So because
uh-huh.
I used to keep speaking about Nyaya Darshana in those classes. Because when we argue something, then they say, what's the meaning of this? So I taught them a little bit. So they got, then they said,
Okay.
can't we have a special course on this itself? Nyaya. I said, you write to HUA and they will consider. So they all of them wrote, maybe 10 or 15
So
of them.
Yes.
Pragya, please register my interest, tremendous interest I have, the 6 schools of philosophy. If you would consider offering as a graduate level course.
Absolutely. Of course. I will connect with you separately as well on this one, Shanji.
Appreciate
I'll
very
give you
much.
a call.
Thank you. Kuldeep ji, it's my great fortune. I'm taking your course, Yoga Sutra, and I wish to take this course too also, if it's offered on credit level.
Chandrakantji himself teaches yoga.
No, Kuldeep ji, I'm your student, and in fact, I've been learning so much. So much I learned about the Sanskrit from you.
So will others. That will Sanskrit will be a bonus. You get a freebie that by the end of the course you'll have enough fairly good knowledge of Sanskrit to interest you enough to take it more seriously. And
Yes.
Many of you may or may
I
not know
may
those
offer.
who have not taken course of Kuldeep ji. Kuldeep ji even teaches how to pronounce it right, because Sanskrit pronunciation is extremely important. The meaning can change if you wrong pronounce it.
Yeah, you're right. So pronunciation is important, and you will enjoy it. You will enjoy the language.
Love it every minute. I love it.
Yeah, see, there are
Thank
many.
you.
For example, they'll say Sanskrit is a dead language. Why do you want to learn? So Suresh Shanaraji. So if you you should be able to tell them why it's so important.
Yeah. I'm
Just saying that it's 5,000 years old, 10 that won't help much. We should tell them. We should show how this language is so important and why it's so important.
It's
so.
perfectly logical language. Perfectly logical language.
No,
The way
I
it is
agree.
written, exactly it's pronounced.
No, I
I
agree
may
with you
be.
that there is a lot of value in taking this course because everyone sort of struggles, I think, to argue in a manner that is relevant to today's times. So I think there's a lot of value. I was just trying to sort of also register for the course. I have taken several courses at HUA, and this one certainly is something that's of interest. And I was trying to register. I think it's important. Now, if we learned only chapter 1, um, does that diminish the value of not knowing everything else?
No, it's like this. That's the reason why chapter 1 was given, with the understanding that if there is a demand, then we'll do chapter 2. See, for chapter 2, we can't have a fresh set of students.
Yeah.
They have to be those who have done 1 already. Otherwise, it won't help much. So the existing students, if they say we want to learn uh, chapter 2 also, then we can offer chapter 2, and then if they want 3, then 4, then 5. The other option I told them, the current Nyaya class which got over just yesterday,
Yeah. Today
they
and
asked the
yes.
same. Yeah, what's it?
Oh, no, I
Yes.
said it just got over and I think they've already started writing to us for
Okay, they are.
next course
So
that you.
yeah, so they asked me, what should we do next? Will you teach part 3 or something? So I was also
Same is
giving
with
them some
Yoga
ideas
Sutra.
about Vaisheshik Sutras I was talking about, Vaisheshik, which is like science. And I said, see, initially what you can do is, now you have done, see, in the first chapter, you will get the basics of Nyaya. You can overview of Nyaya Darshan, right? So I would suggest for beginners, first do the overview of all the darshanas, a little bit. So I said, ideally you should do Vaisheshik Darshana, which is an allied darshana. So you study 1 chapter of that, and then you study, say, take up a course in Yoga Sutram, like that, little bit. Later on, then you request for chapter 2 of Nyaya, and that way. So I don't know what they have decided. Maybe most of them want to study Vaisheshik now.
Yes.
So I hope there are enough of them for you to start a course. And I may offer in Sanskrit grammar also a course later, so that you know how sandhis are made, how samasas are made, how, you know, the very, very fundamentals of. Because once you know that, you know, doors, you know, a new world will open for you. It'll be a totally new thing. Right now, you know, when somebody is saying something Sanskrit, we just listen and feel good. That's all. Most of the time, we shut off till the translation comes. But once you start learning, and believe me, it's not a difficult language. It has been drilled into our heads that it's a difficult language. It's so difficult. So it's not. It's. I'm telling you, it's easier than Hindi or English. Hindi is a lot more difficult language. Some of who have started learning late in life will realize how difficult Hindi is. Uh,
That
but
depends upon the teacher. The way you teach is it seems like so easy, you know,
no,
but it is difficult.
yeah. See, that also is that
So
I agree with
wonderful,
you.
you know.
I agree
Anybody
with
can
you.
learn it.
Many Sanskrit has been given a bad name by many Sanskrit teachers. They teach in such a boring, you know, like mathematics. Everybody dreads mathematics because our mathematics teachers were extremely boring teachers. Most, with some exceptions here and there, you know, they bored you to death in mathematics class by making you, you know, memorize things. So, but Sanskrit, I'm telling you, it's such a easy language, and you will love it. It'll open up new doors. You'll be able to read Kalidasa in the original. You'll be able to read the Mahabharata, Ramayana, all these Upanishads, everything the original. There's nothing like it. I also used to read in translation, but then I knew I was getting a second-hand taste of it, not the original taste. So I said, this can't go on. So I had to make a resolve. And no doubt you have to work hard. You have to work hard. But what I'm saying is, if you want to learn elementary level, you know, just appreciation level, you don't have to work so hard. Everybody doesn't want to become a scholar of Sanskrit. Most of you will be just happy if you could chant the shloka properly, right? Pronounce the shloka properly, speak a little bit. Most of us would be interested in that much.
So my humble
Someone in
request, both
chat,
Pragyaji and Kuldeepji, please consider to offer it as a credit. Yeah?
that's is upon Pragyaji and others. I don't have much
No,
to say in that.
actually, the committee, the current course structure will not befit the graduate level program, Chandrakantji, because what Kuldeepji will have to do is just the way he's doing Yoga Sutra of Patanjali in extremely detailed manner, if he's to offer it for the graduate program. And I'm sure he will do it. He will definitely
Now,
design it.
particularly,
Yes,
Kuldeepji is talking about logic, right? Nyaya.
yes.
It's the 6 schools of philosophy
He will
of Hindu
definitely do it.
philosophy. It is obviously it's a very, very important and very necessary course if you want to learn Hindu
I
studies. You know,
agree. I agree with that. And for that, I'm
logical
sure,
argument.
yeah,
Please,
definitely connect with
thank you,
Kuldeepji on this
and
and
please forgive me
work for
that.
it. And
Thank you.
if
And
we don't
Kuldeepji,
have, yes,
that's
yes,
wonderful.
Any questions?
I think
All are
we can.
they're all are very obedient participants.
I'm signing up for the course right now as we speak.
Okay,
Thank you,
that's
Sureshji. And being a student, I can tell you, Kuldeepji likes a talkative class.
yeah. So you don't have to agree with everything I say. You can also ask. You can debate. That's important.
I do ask a lot of questions, so
So you'll enjoy this class.
Thank you, Kuldeepji. Thank you so much.
thank
Right.
you.
So
Kuldeepji,
I
thank you,
think
Kuldeepji, for this.
everybody wants to go to bed. Looks like some may
No,
have already gone to bed.
it's only those who are in India are facing bedtime now. Others, for others,
Oh,
I think
right,
it's
right. For them, it's morning time. So maybe they want to
Yes.
have
Sunday, yes, a
enjoy
Sunday
this.
sale.
They want to
So,
enjoy the Sunday morning. And where is this fellow troubling us with logic and all that? So have a nice day, all of you, and hope to see you. Hope to see you in the class. I'm sure you'll love it. If you love to study the text, then you must have some background of Nyaya.
And we
Right?
will be sending you recordings of whoever has registered for the webinar will receive the recording of this as well as, course information. You all
And I
can
think the
then
participants know that notes will be shared, whatever reading material, and also recording of every class will be
recordings.
available
Yes.
to them.
Yes.
Suppose you are absent on a particular day, you can watch the recordings, or just for revising sake, you can always. And you can always ask me by email also if something you haven't understood, you can do that. Okay? So, namaste
Thank you.
and have a nice
Namaste,
day.
everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Good night. Good night, Kuldeep ji, and have a great
Good night.
Sunday, all of you.
Thank you.
Stay.